Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Uh, the Harry Potter franchise really can't catch a break right now. And it hasn't for a while. The Cursed Child, well, maybe it worked as a play on stage, but reading it, it sucked. I had a hard time imagining how it would work on stage. The second Fantastic Beast movie was garbage. J.K. Rowling is J.K. Rowling and just becoming more so as time goes on, and and now the third Fantastic Beast movie, which I was genuinely starting to doubt whether or not it would be made. I have to imagine there was some crazy calculus going on in Warner Brothers trying to figure out, okay, for all the damage that J.K. Rowling has kind of done to this brand because of how much such a big sliver of the fans now really don't like her. And add to that the fact that the previous Fantastic Beasts movie didn't do that as well, and that they don't know when movie theaters are going to open again, and making a huge tentpole film on the scale of the Fantastic Beasts for a streaming platform is a very bad investment of money. They had to calculate all those factors versus, do we dare let the rights lapse on the Wizarding World? Because we don't know the specifics of Warner Brothers' licensing agreement to make the movies and all this stuff, but generally speaking, most modern day adaptation rights agreements include a ticking clock where if you sit on it too long without making something, the rights revert back and you don't get to make that sort of thing anymore. So I imagine that somewhere in there is probably a provision along those lines. And that, more than anything else, is probably what pushed this thing to move forward. Now, it had started filming. It's been filming for about a month. I believe shooting's still going on. They might have halted it for the time being. But Johnny Depp has just dropped out. Now, this is going to be tricky for me to talk about because I really don't want to take a stance on Johnny Depp as a person, and I don't want to take sides in this mess. I really, really don't. And that has more to do with, I don't, for myself, I don't want to go digging through this well enough to feel comfortable taking a side, because if I have to read so much about what has gone on, it's just going to be bad for my soul. But here's the basics as neutrally as I can make it. So Johnny Depp played Grindelwald at the very end of the first Fantastic Beasts and throughout the second one. Personal opinion, he actually played the part very well. I actually thought he was one of the highlights of an otherwise very bad movie in that second one. I thought he actually captured what the character needed to be quite well. He was coming back for the third one. He even started shooting. So far as I could tell, he had only shot one scene, but he's now off the movie. And the timing makes it pretty clear as to why. Because this happened very shortly after Johnny Depp lost a lawsuit of defamation against a British tabloid. I think it was The Sun, but I'm not positive off the top of my head. Now, here's the thing. That is not the same as proof of guilt, because what he was claiming defamation on was how The Sun had reported his split with Amber Heard and had reported physical altercations of him being violent towards her. And again, don't ask me to unpack everything that has gone on between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. I can't. And please don't get in fights about it in the comments either. Just please. But in any case, they had reported that and their reporting had very much leaned in the direction of Johnny Depp had abused her. And he sued them for defamation and lost. Part of why this is really bad for him is that defamation suits are actually a lot easier to win in the UK than, say, in the US. The US has a lot more protections in place for news outlets, if they are reporting the facts as best they understand them. And in America, if you're going to sue like some reporting agency for defamation, you basically have to, especially if you're a public figure, you basically have to prove that they knew it wasn't right and reported it anyway. That's actually a pretty high bar, trying to prove that somebody knew that what they were reporting was false. Because the vast majority of the time, when a story is misreported, it's a genuine mistake, and it's very hard to prove otherwise. Now, in the UK, the burden of proof is actually much, much lower. I don't know enough about the specifics to be able to tell you what it is, but it is not nearly the same high bar to clear to win a defamation suit in the UK. And he still lost. So in a defamation suit in the UK, the burden of proof is actually largely on the defendant to prove that they had credible evidence for what they said, as opposed to the US, where the plaintiff has to prove that the other side deliberately deceived. So that means that this tabloid provided sufficient evidence that the court ruled, no, this was not defamation. They had every right to report it the way that they did. And that looks really bad for Johnny Depp. Again, not making a call, but given the legal system that he lost in, it's a bad look. And he left Fantastic Beasts shortly after. Now, my trying to look into this, I'm actually finding conflicting reports. I'm finding some reports saying that he quit of his own accord. I'm seeing some that the higher-ups at Warner Brothers actually asked him to leave, or possibly even fired him. There are some that are like splitting the difference and saying that he met with the heads of Warner Brothers and they mutually agreed the best thing to happen was for him to leave, because he was also going to have other potential complications, because he's got a court date related to Amber Heard stuff in the US that was probably going to conflict with shooting anyway. So that's another wrinkle in all this. But regardless, he's out. They need to keep shooting rolling, or if it's paused, they need to pick it back up quick, because otherwise they need to release a ton of people from their contracts to go out and get other work, and that's expensive. Like, you can't just hit pause on a movie production. You have to in some way keep the contracts active, because otherwise people go, you're not putting me to work, I'm leaving this and going to do something else. And suddenly people from actors, directors, tech people, all across the board, suddenly you're losing your cast and crew to other work, and you have to wait for everybody's schedules to clear again. It's really expensive. So they need to keep this thing moving. That means that right now they are scrambling for a new actor. That is what they have said, that they are not ditching the character. The character will remain. They are going to recast. And there are ways to get around that. I mean, heck, Colin Farrell played the character in the majority of the first Fantastic Beasts movie, and there's plenty of ways to account for a character changing their face. That's happened in this franchise before. So logistically, narratively, that's not a big problem. Scrambling to find somebody, that's not good. They're going to have to do some kind of new pass at the script to account for the fact that he now looks different, because you can't just do it without any explanation, even if you only do it for one scene. So that's got to get written. They got to get that on the shooting schedule if it isn't already. They're going to have to reshoot whatever scene Johnny Depp already did. And here's the kicker: Warner Brothers still has to pay him. Johnny Depp had a pay-or-play contract, which means he either gets to act in it, or if they get rid of him, he still gets a paycheck. Now, there are clauses in a lot of those that will have circumstances under which you don't still get paid. One of those can be what is known as a morality clause, meaning if you are leaving the project because of some issues with your image, or you were arrested, or something along those lines, you don't get paid. Johnny Depp didn't have a morality clause in his pay-or-play contract. So whatever his salary was, Warner Brothers is out of pocket, gone. Which means they're probably going to be looking not only for somebody available and like who is willing to take the part, but also somebody not as high profile as Johnny Depp. because you get somebody that costs as much as Johnny Depp costs, and immediately just this role is double the cost that it was before. So they're probably going to be looking for somebody. That's not me saying they're going to go for an unknown. I seriously doubt that. They'll find somebody that's a recognizable face, but they're going to find somebody much less high profile, would be my guess, if only to help mitigate the cost of this thing. And I bet those people who ran the calculus and said this movie was worth making, this movie is worth the cost and all this other stuff that we've been dealing with, it's worth it to sink the money into this. Oh, they must have the worst migraines in the world right now, because all their calculations have been completely thrown off by this. And I don't have a hope or opinion, because at this point, I have no intention of watching another Fantastic Beasts movie anyway, for the same reason that I won't buy any more Harry Potter merch or anything of that nature. Anything that financially benefits J.K. Rowling or contributes to her stature in any way, even indirectly, by bolstering and keeping as relevant something that her name is attached to, I won't do it. So, I was never going to watch this thing. This whole thing for me is just, I'm just sitting back here with popcorn watching the circus yeah, that's a mess. So Fantastic Beasts, the third one, whatever the heck they end up calling it. Johnny Depp out. Bit of a mess. What are your thoughts on it? Again, please don't get into arguments in my comment section about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. That's not what this video is about. Don't make it about that. I will delete comments. But other than that, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Usual stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Patreon keeps the lights on, pays my bills. But, you also don't have to. Try and take a relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break.